I am making a Heroic Challenger deck profile. I'm mainly making this deck just because in the newest set, I think it was Duelist Advance. Yeah, Duelist Advance, that Heroic Challenger actually got two new cards, one being archetype related and the other one not being archetype related, but it does actually help the deck tremendously. So starting off with the monsters, I play one copy of Heroic Challenger Clasp Sword. Clasp Sword has the effect that when this card is special summoned by the effect of Heroic Challenger, then you can add a Heroic Challenger from your monster from your deck to your hand. You can use that effect with return. Next, I play three copies of Heroic Challenger Knuckle Sword. Knuckle Sword has the effect if you control a heroic monster, you can if you control a heroic monster except a level 1 monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can target one other warrior monster you control with a level, and then the level of that monster or this card becomes the level of the other. Okay. For some reason, my brain could not process that for some reason. So you special summon this, you target a level 4 monster, and then you can use this card's effect to make itself level 4. One card I did think about putting in the extra deck is one copy of number 54, I think it was, which is Lionheart. Just because if you summon this off of Thousand Blades, then this can grab this, you can special this, and then you can make itself and Thousand Blades become level 1. If you make Thousand Blades a level 1 monster, you can overlay a 3 for Lionheart. And then next I play one copy of Extra Sword. Extra Sword just makes an Xyz monster that was Xyz summoned using this card's material. Gains the effect of it gains 1,000 attack. Next I play three copies of Heroic Challenger Thousand Blades. Thousand Blades has the effect that... I forget how it works exactly. Okay, this card's an attack edition. You can discard a heroic card to then make it so you can't summon from the extra deck for a rest of turn except for heroic monsters. But then you get special summon a heroic monster from your deck, and if you do, change it to defense position. And then when you take damage while this card is in your graveyard, you can special summon this card in attack position. You can only use this effect of Heroic Challenger Thousand Blades once per turn. Which one thing I actually like about Thousand Blades is if you have it and three heroic cards in your hand that aren't Thousand Blades that you don't mind discarding, then you can just normal summon Thousand Blades, discard a card, switch it to defense, summon a second Thousand Blades, use the second Thousand Blades effect, switch it to defense, summon a third, use a third Thousand Blades effect, summon a fourth monster, which... But I just like the fact that they made that effect be not once per turn at all, but they made its ability to summon itself once per turn. And then next, I play three copies of Heroic Challenger Morningstar. Heroic Challenger Morningstar has the effect that if you control two or more warrior monsters, then you can special summon this card from your hand. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can add a heroic spell or trap from your deck to your hand. And then if this card is in your graveyard and your life points are 500 or less, you can special summon this card but negate its effects. You can use each effect of Heroic Challenger Morningstar once per turn. Unfortunately, I wish Heroic Challenger had more monsters that were actually kind of good. But all the other ones aren't necessarily that good, as Double Lance lets you summon from, I think it was deck or grave, when it's normal summon. But there's one that's a Cyber Dragon, but it's not very good because it has some like battle damage. But anyway, moving on to the hand traps is 3 Drone Lockbird, just because a lot of decks like to search, and this just laughs. 3 copies of Ash Blossom and Joy Spring, just because it can say no to Mulch Armies. Especially Perulia, because of Perulia and Fualos. Namely Fualos are actually good against this deck. Speaking of, I play 3 copies of Mulch Army Fualos. Fualos can only be activated while you have no cards in your hand, and seeing as to how Heroic Challenger normally wants to go second, there we go. But Fualos has the effect that you discard it while you have no cards to then make it so that every time your opponent special summons from extra deck or main deck, you get to draw one card. And then during your end phase, if you have more cards in your hand than cards your opponent has on the field plus 6, you randomly shuffle a surplus from your hand back into the deck. Next, I play 3 copies of Nibiru, just because Nibiru is actually a good hand trap now. But Nibiru has the effect that when your opponent during the main phase, when your opponent has summoned 5 or more monsters, you can activate its effect in hand to then be able to attribute all monsters on the field, special summon this card to your field, and you special summon a Primal Being token to your opponent's field that has attack and defense equal to the combined attack and defense of all attributed monsters. And you can only use that effect in Nibiru with Primal Being once per turn. Now for the spells, I play 1 copy of Heroic Chance. This just lets you double the attack of a heroic monster you control till the end of the turn. And you can only activate 1 Heroic Chance per turn. Next, I play 1 copy of Reinforcement of the Army. This just lets you add any level 4 or lower warrior monster from your deck to your hand. Next, I play 3 copies of Return of the Duelist. This is one of the 2 new cards I was talking about, where if you control an Xyz monster, you can add 1 equip spell from your deck to your hand. The equip spell I like is 3 copies of Magnum Shield. One thing I did think about doing was playing 1 copy of a Megamorph, since one of the boss monsters of the deck actually reduces your life points to 500. But Magnum Shield just makes it so that you equip it to a warrior monster, and then while that monster is in attack mode, it gains attack equal to its defense, and while it's in defense mode, it gains a defense equal to its attack. And then next, instead of playing Moltarmi Perulia like I was originally thinking, I play 3 copies of Raigeki just because I'd like to have some kind of board wipe. Next, I play 3 copies of Heroic Envoy. Heroic Envoy lets you add a heroic monster from your deck to your hand. And then if your life points are 500 or less, you can banish this card from your graveyard. Then target a heroic monster in your graveyard, add it to your hand. You will use each effect of Heroic Envoy once per turn. And then lastly, I play 3 copies of Heroic Call. Heroic Call has the effect that once per turn, you special summon a warrior monster from your hand or graveyard, but if it isn't a heroic monster, you negate its effects and it can't attack. And then it also has the effect that if your life points are 500 or less, you can banish this card from your graveyard, target a face-up monster your opponent controls, or target 1 face-up monster you control, not your opponent. It then gains 500 attack for each heroic card you currently control, as well as each heroic card attached to Xyz monsters you control. And you can only use that effect of Heroic Call once per turn. And that is it for the main deck. I probably will end up taking out Raigeki out of the deck to play Moltarmi Perulia instead. Just because there are actually some decks that Perulia is good against, and worst case scenario, I side them out for Raigeki and Dark Hole from the side deck for board breakers. Or just floodgate traps. So for the monsters, I play 3 copies of the new Heroic Challenger Magnum Excalibur. Magnum Excalibur has the effect that if this card battles an opponent's monster, during damage calculation, detach 2 materials from this card to then double its attack during damage calculation only. And then once per turn during the main phase, as a quick effect, you can target 1 other face-up monster you control, equip this card to it as an equip spell that gives it 2,000 attack and defense. And then you can banish this card from your graveyard, shuffle 3 warrior monsters from your graveyard back into the deck. So really, this is only in here to make getting a really big monster a lot easier. As I think now the biggest you can get a monster to be is like 30,000 or somewhere around that. Which, thanks to Return of the Duelist, or what was it? Return of the Duelist, Rise of the Duelist. Okay, thanks to Return of the Duelist, I actually do kind of want, instead of playing Perulia, I might toss in 3 more random equip spells that are actually kind of good, such as Megamorph and Fairy Meteor Crush, so the equipped monster can inflict piercing battle damage. Make it so that when it attacks, someone is dying. Anyway, next I play 3 copies of Heroic Champion Excalibur. Heroic Champion Excalibur has the effect that once per turn, you can detach 2 materials from it to then make it so that its attack becomes double its original until the end of the turn. Before, Excalibur is what I would use to try to get something to be really big. But you would have to do Excalibur first before doing anything else, because if you do Excalibur last, then it'll scale from being like 12,000 to only 4,000. But anyway, its attack becomes double its original till the end of the opponent's next turn, so that is something. Next, I play 1 copy of Heroic Champion Gundiva. Gundiva, I really wish can get an upgrade, just because I feel like it's not good anymore. But Heroic Champion Gundiva has the effect that once per turn, when a level 4 or lower monster special summon to your opponent's field, you can use a material from Heroic Champion Gundiva to destroy that monster. The only time you can't do that is if it's during the damage step. And then next, I play 2 copies of Heroic Champion Clave Solish. Clave Solish is the main boss monster of the deck, where Clave Solish has the effect of your opponent cannot attack monsters, or cannot target monsters for attack except this one. You can only use each of the following effects of Heroic Champion Clave Solish once per turn. You can pay life points so that you only have 500 left. That's why Heroic Call and Heroic Envoy have the effect of when you have 500 life points left. So that at the start of the battle phase, this turn, double the attack of one monster you control. And when an attack is declared involving your opponent's monster, you can detach material from this card. Target one face-up monster your opponent controls. This card gains attack equal to that monster's attack till the end of the damage step. Or my bad, until the end of the turn. But usually this is what you're using to go for the OTK. As, like I said, with the new cards, it can actually easily get to like 30,000 or 36,000 attack. So if your opponent leaves anything in attack mode, they're just done for. Next, I play 1 copy of Heroic Champion Kusanagi. Kusanagi has the effect that once per turn, during either player's turn, when a trap card or the effect of a trap is activated, you can detach a material, negate the card if you destroy it, and furthermore, Kusanagi then gains 500 attack points. Next, I play 2 copies of number 39 Utopia. Utopia has the effect of... Well, Utopia's effect doesn't really matter, as you usually just use it to evolve it. I'll use it to summon Utopia Ray the first time, and then after that I'll use Utopia Ray to summon one of your 2 copies of Utopia, the Lightning. Just in case you caught it, when I was making the deck, apparently I couldn't count, as I realized when I was studying, or when I was starting to stutter earlier, it's because apparently I didn't count it, but my extra deck actually had 16 cards in the extra deck. So I was like, okay, what of these can come out? So I figured this. But anyway, the Utopia cards are just in here to summon these with more materials. As Utopia, the Lightning has the effect that when it battles, your opponent cannot activate cards or effects till the end of the damage step. And if it battles an opponent's monster, you can use its effect, detaching 2 materials, so that it gains 2,500 attack until the end of the next, either until the end of the next turn or the end of the damage step. I think it's the damage step, honestly. Okay, you make it's until the end of the damage calculation. That's what it was. It's been a while since the last Red Utopia the Lightning, but it's mainly just there in case you can't do your main OTK thing, so... yeah. But if you have any ideas what I can do to improve the deck, any ideas decks like to see face each other, or decks like to see me made in the future, comment down below. I always read the comments, and thank you for watching.